we're good to go.
What? We said.
All right. So we should be good to go. I'm just going to make sure everybody's muted. Yep, we're good. All right. So welcome to the Zoom this week. Tanya and I had talked about me hosting it instead of her this week. So I'm really excited about it. And I'm honestly honored that she asked me to do it. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some interviews today for people who are on our team, on our downline. We've got a couple from Tanya's team. We've got one from mine. I'm really, really excited about this. And then we've got a couple of really good tips at the end for you guys so that you can learn something new about this business in general too. So just make sure that we're creating momentum for everyone on our team and ourselves by going ahead and tagging the people who are so brave to share their story today. I'm going to have them drop their Instagram handles in the chat section for you guys so that you guys can go ahead and tag them. Just take a little quick snippet video. This has been literally growing our businesses like crazy lately. I can't even tell you how much feedback I've gotten and my team. So it's huge. Make sure that you're sharing that, not only for the person who's doing it, but also for yourself, because once people see that you're sharing that you're on a team Zoom, they know that they're actually going to be taught when they come into this business. So it actually helps boost your business in the long run, just by sharing that you're not alone. You come into this business by yourself, but you're never by yourself, you know? So, we're going to get started. We're going to get right into it. We're going to start with, and I'm going to try not to botch your name. I'm so sorry, girl. I know you're on my Instagram. We're going to start with Alicia Pfeiffer. Can you correct me if I'm wrong? And I can actually unmute you.
Do you know how rare it is for somebody to actually pronounce my name right? I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Everybody pronounces my name wrong, but yeah, it's Alicia. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've never, ever told my story before. So you guys will have to like guide me through it, but I'm super excited. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Alicia and I've been in the business for 4 years. This is actually my third time in the business stuff. The first year I signed up, didn't do anything, sat there and watched my enroller get to triple diamond, and I didn't do anything, and I let my e-suite run out and I quit for about 6 months, and then I signed back up again. I was built to Ruby, and my first check in the business was $27, and I was so disappointed, like brutally disappointed, and wanted to throw out the towel, but I stuck with it and didn't really do much of the business. Like I said, I was built, and then I started doing Tanya's Zooms actually, and in that process my e-suite had lapsed again, so I actually quit for 3 months and I joined underneath Tanya, just due to some personal reasons and coaching styles and stuff. But yeah, I've been in for 4 years, and this business has seen me through. I was homeless at one point, and this was my only income. My daughter is now in this business. We signed her up when she was 18, still in high school, so she's making an income off this business. I lost a fiance. He unfortunately passed away when I was in this business. So this business has literally seen me through some of the roughest points in my life, and here I am still trucking. So I don't really know what else you guys want me to talk about. Like if you want me to touch on something.
Yeah, that's sure. So, I mean, that's good. So as far as you said, it's seen you in several different seasons, and I feel like we all go through different seasons. My biggest issue was you went through some hard times. What would you say got you through those times and made you want to keep pushing in your business?
You know, for me, like, even though my checks in the beginning were super small, like when I was homeless, that $27 check literally bought bus fare for me and my daughter to go to the library so we could sit there all day long, right? Like, it was the littlest things that I knew, okay, if I could make $7 for bus fare, I can make $27. If I can make $27, I can make $200. So it was knowing that the base of this business is easy, and you just have to learn how to keep doing it. Do the same things over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a good tip. Yeah. And it's how, like, it's just about staying consistent, and it's about showing up every single day.
Absolutely. I am up at 3 o'clock in the morning, every morning. 3 o'clock. I Zoom with my team from 5 to 7 every day, and I give myself 2 hours in the morning. So I'm up at 3 o'clock every morning because I make this business a priority.
Right. And it's because you're a why. Like that's what it boils down to. What you say.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if you could tell us one tip, like if you were talking to someone who's just coming into this business, brand new, or maybe they're going through that really tough season, like we've all been through, where they're on the verge of, and you said that you had quit and then came back, right? What if you're talking to that person who's like on the verge of quitting, or maybe just in that season of coming back? What would you say to them?
It's so hard. Like, I feel like it's such a mindset thing. Like this business teaches you so much to self-develop all the time. And that's really so important. Like if I hadn't have worked on my mindset in this business, I would have just flaked. But there was always something in me that knew that I could do this business. Like I've seen so many people that like, I don't have an education. I didn't graduate high school, like none of the things. Like I had all the cards stacked against me. If anybody had a reason not to succeed, it was me. So it's just knowing that you can do it. It's not a hard business. It's just switching your mindset to knowing you're either going to work for somebody else and get crap money and be in a crap situation for the rest of your life, or you're going to try to work as hard as you can for as long as you can for you and your family, regardless of whether you have kids or not, like whatever your family unit looks like, right? But it's that mindset of knowing you can do hard things and you are meant for more. You're not meant to be stuck on welfare and like having to go to the library with your kids so you can stay warm. Like it's you so much more to life than that.
Yeah. When you did quit, and this was just a personal question, I was curious, when you did quit and you were coming back, what was like your biggest objection of like, I don't know if I want to do it again? Because I'm sure you probably had some, right?
Yeah. So part of the reason why, like, I don't like to say that I jumped ship, but the first 2 years that I was in this business, I was taught to be that you message everybody until they block you. You bug them, you post all the green bling, you go all out and you spam everybody and you're annoying and you just get to the point where everybody blocks you. That's how I was taught in the beginning. So coming on to Tanya's team and learning a new way of marketing ourselves, like that has been life-changing for my business. If I didn't market myself that way, I don't think I would have come back. But knowing, because I had already been on Tanya's Zooms before all that had happened. So I knew that she had done a different way and I was slowly already trying to get that way. Because for me personally, like when somebody cold messages me, I freak out. Like there's something in me that like, I don't know. It just bugs my soul. Like, unless I've like had a previous conversation with you, like it just, I don't know. It bugs me. So I have a hard time cold messaging people. And that's what I was taught to do. In this training, it's not like that, right? Like we actually genuinely build relationships with people and it's not, hey, do you want to do this? Hey, do you want to do this? Hey, buy this. Hey, buy that. Right.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of us, what I love about this business in general is everybody's got different teaching styles. Everybody's got different training styles. Everybody's got, like, I know there's some people who they build their relationship beforehand, right? Then there's some that build them on the back end. And no matter doing it, everybody's got their own specific different way, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the great thing is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's just finding what suits your own personality the most. I find like some people thrive off the cold messaging and that's their jam and they get up and they're excited to do it because it's the thrill, and that's all the power to you. I wish I had those guts to do it, but I don't. So I stick to another kind, right? And that the flexibility of this business in being able to work within your own personality styles is phenomenal, right? Because it can literally work for anybody, whether you're a red or a green or a yellow or however you work, right?
Yeah, everybody's got their different training styles. I'm so about that. The generator.
That's okay.
I was like, what is going on here? I was scared.
Right.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
So, you just gave so much information. I was trying to write it down at the same exact time. And then,
sorry, and I talk super fast too. I've been up since 1 o'clock this morning, so I'm like all wired. I had 2 energy sticks, and this is like my 7th coffee of the day. So I'm like,
we all do it.
Right.
Okay, so I just had one last question for you.
Yeah.
So said, this business really grows your mindset, right? We're
Mhm.
talking first come in, and I think that almost everybody on this Zoom like talks to their newbies about personal development and growth. It's the biggest way that you're gonna
Yeah.
move your business, right?
Yeah.
And if you're pretty much killing your business from day one. So
Yeah.
my is was there a turning point in your self-development, or is there like a book that spoke to you or a podcast that spoke to you that was huge?
Yeah. So jumping on the journaling Zooms every day, it because it forces you to look at your own personal situation. Like I'm one of those people that scroll on Facebook, and like even Chelsea, like I keep your page all the time, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had this, and like all of the things, like I'm very guilty of that too, right? So the journaling Zooms, it forces you to think about yourself in your own little bubble of the business and what you can personally do better, and it just teaches you that stuff. So that was really like altering for me. And then I read How to Be a Badass by Jen Sincero. That was the first self-development book that I ever read, and it changed my life. And now, I don't know, I probably read like 6 self-development books a month. Like I read lots, and I'm on that journaling Zoom as much as I can. Not as much as Tanya journals, but I'm trying to get to as much as Tanya journals. But I think journaling is important, and I've always been a journaler, but that's how you get the stuff from your head, from your heart, and it like out and like into the universe and manifest it, basically.
Yeah, I agree with journaling. I think it's great, and especially talking about it like it's coming for you.
Yeah.
It's like a really good way to dream, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
crazy. So I want to just take a second and say thank you for hopping on
Yeah,
here.
thank you.
I've seen your messages and stuff, and I think I've messaged you
Right?
a couple of times.
Yeah,
So it's
heck yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and
Awesome.
hop on to the next person. I'm going to mute and then unmute. And we're actually going to go with someone I met at conference one time. I'm really excited to hear from her. We're actually going to hear from Janice. I think it's Murray. I'm going to ask to unmute. And there you go.
Hello, excuse me. I'm Janice Murray. I've been with It Works for 4 years now, a little over 4 years. I started with It Works a year prior to that. I was a customer. When Savannah first joined It Works, I've become her customer. Matter of fact, I was a really good customer too. And she and Tanya were in this together. And the whole time, while I was just the customer, I would ask Savannah what they were doing, I would just watch and, from the sidelines. And so I feel like I've been in the business as long as her and Tanya have been. And of course, when I got in, I decided to join the business. I saw that there was a bigger vision. I didn't join the business because I needed money. I just joined the business because, what if, one day, and but money wasn't the issue because I was already working. But I just saw that maybe one day we could, retire or do something different. But at the time, we were still working. And anyway, when I got into the business, probably about 4 months later, I put my husband into the business. I thought, well, if I'm going to be working, why not go ahead and get 2 paychecks? So that's what we did. And I'd already owned a successful restaurant. It was in my family had it for 37 years, and then my dad turned it over to me, and he retired. And so 20 years later, we decided that we were going to retire. And on June 28th of 2019, Raymond, Savannah, and we decided that we were going to sell the store, and that's what we did. And we sold our business, and so now we just we come and go. We enjoy freedom of time. Freedom of time was something that I never had. And so it's just been real nice to be able to go see family, come and go. It's just been really, really nice. It Works is a wonderful company. They have the best systems in play that you can have. We have Zooms, work Zooms that you get on. And some of the friendships, I mean, some of the most wonderful friendships I've ever had has been through It Works. And that's because we get on these Zooms and we get to know each other. I know people all over the States now, all over the world, you know. I know people over in Canada. I didn't know people in Canada till I got involved with It Works. So, what I would say to anybody that was new in this company is just do what your leaders, do what they tell you to do. Chelsea, Mandy and Tanya have got all these, there are diamond leaders, and they've got all these Zooms and all these systems in play for us. Be coachable. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And most of all, just do the work, And if you just do the work, you'll go far in this business. And I love It Works. It's given me something I never had. I never knew what it was like to be able to get up and go and just have a good time. And I at one time, I didn't think I knew how to have a good time anymore. But this business has given me freedom of time.
I love your story. And I love the fact that you ran a business before you started this business.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge, right? Because like you come from that work ethic from, having to make it on your own and then come into this business. And it's a totally different type of model, I would say. Mm-hmm. I heard your story from Savannah a couple of times on her Zoom calls when she shared her story. So I've known a little bit about it, but hearing it from you is like a whole different story. So I have a question for you. So before you started, and I like to throw people off a little bit when it comes to Zoom calls because I like to stretch people. So you had said you had gotten started, and before you had kind of watched Savannah and Tanya work this business, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
What were some of your objections before you got started, and maybe a little after you got started? Was there any type of thoughts going through your head, like hard times in your business where you thought, well, maybe is this even for me? Did you have any of those?
Well, my thing about network marketing is my family was always into network marketing, and it was, but see, they were not taught how to properly do network marketing. I can see that now because I have been taught, It Works has taught me about network marketing, and my parents were never taught about network marketing. So, now what was your question?
That's all right. That's all right. So did you have any points in your business where you thought maybe like this wasn't going to be it, or any like hard times?
No. I knew I wanted to do this because I was going to have a change of pace one day. I knew I could not keep going the way I was going. When I say we were working full time, Savannah and I both were working like 2 full-time jobs. So, it just, we could not keep going the way we were going, and we needed an out. And this was my out, it was just time to let it go and sell the business and do something different. And that's what I've done. And it was the right decision. It was the right decision to make.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's such a good way to think that, like, that there's going to be a shift in your life at some point. So why not a business where you can work from your phone instead of having to work your body, right? Like constantly.
Right. And see, in this way, wherever I go, the business goes with me. My phone goes with me. This laptop, I pack it up. It goes with me. I can Zoom here. I can Zoom at my brother's house. I can Zoom at my sister-in-law's house. I can Zoom in a motel. I can Zoom from anywhere. So your work goes with you. It's not like you're just going for fun, Of course you're going for fun, but it's not always fun. You've got to work too.
Right, exactly. You have to kind of balance both worlds. So I love that. Is there anything else that you would say for someone who is maybe just getting started or coming from that world where they work nonstop and they're making a shift, or someone who knows that they're going to be, they're going to have to change their pace at some point? What would you say to them?
I would say go for it and do it, but learn to manage your time. Okay. You've got to learn to manage your time. You cannot just up and say, I'm going to do this, because, you can say you're going to do this, but you've got to be able to manage your time. That's one thing Tanya has beat into my head for 3 years now. Time management. She knows what she's talking about. Time management. That's just a big thing right there.
Yeah, and that's great. And that's really great coming from someone who has ran a business before.
Right.
And you really, learned a lot coming into this industry, knowing how to, balance your time, family and business, and things that you like to do, and yourself and your mindset. So,
right. Well, see, I was never able to do that because it was always business, always.
Yeah. And the traditional businesses are like that. In network
Right.
marketing, you get to choose. So thank you
Right.
so much for sharing that today.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was nice talking to you. All right.
Thank you.
So we're going to go ahead and get started with our last person. I'm going to go ahead and I'm new to like switching people out, guys. So, all right. So we're going to actually pull on Christina. Christina Perky has been on my team for a little over 2 years now. I'm going to ask to unmute. And I love her story. I try to get her to share it as much as she possibly can. So I think you're unmuted already. All right. So you can take the floor, girlfriend.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
All right, perfect. So I'm always nervous doing these things. I was crappy at public speaking, so bear with me, guys. So like Chelsea said, I've been in the business for a little over 2 years. I got started in April of 2019 after following Chelsea on Facebook for about a year. She always followed up with me and messaged me, and I always had an excuse and blew her off. And then I watched her get her bonus, and I messaged her and was like, all right, what do I got to do? Like, this is legit. I'm in. Sorry, you guys probably hear my bug zapper in the background. So when I started, I didn't really get right to work. I just kind of sat there. And I observed, and my mom was my first customer because she wanted to help out so much. And I maybe sat in the business and didn't really do too much, including self-development. I didn't do very much self-development in the very beginning. It was probably like four, maybe 5 months in when I started really, really like, all right, something's got to change. I started reading the books that Chelsea recommended. And my first book as well was You Were a Badass. And then I read the Rachel Hollis books, Girl Wash Your Face and Girl Stop Apologizing, and then Dream Giver. And Dream Giver was one of my favorite books. I think I read that book in like 2 days flat because I really loved that book. If you guys haven't read that yet, that's a really good book to read. And then I started really building myself up. I got my executive, and my life happened. I ended up losing my brother to a drug overdose. And it kind of stopped me right in my tracks. And even though I was doing self-development, it really got to me. So I kind of lost rank, let my business fall. And then I picked myself back up with the help from the girls on the team. They are amazing. The friendships you build in this company, they are amazing. The girls on the team, all my sideline sisters and Chelsea were there for me. Like, people around me in real life weren't even there for me, like people that I see on a daily basis. So they helped me come out of my funk. Self-development helped me come out of my funk. I started getting closer to God because of this business and reading my Bible. And I really started building momentum up, and my mom got sick in December, and I ended up having to move out of my house, move into my brother's house, which was, that was a lot. That was a big toll on me. And we ended up taking care of my mom. 5 days before my mom passed away, we lost my niece, my brother's daughter, to a drug overdose. And then we lost my mom. In that time, I had bought my conference ticket. I had paid for the hotel room. I was so excited to be able to go to a conference. It was going to be my first conference, and I couldn't go because it was at the same time my mom died January 20th, and you guys were headed to conference, or you might have already been there. So, but the girls video chatted me while they were in conference and sent me prayers and really helped me through. And, you know, after losing my mom, I wouldn't have gotten through that without this business and the self-development. Like, I had no clue what self-development was until I started with this business. And it's made a huge difference in my life. I was negative. I was judgmental. I hung out with girls that gossiped about everybody else. And so it changed me. I don't hang out with any of those people anymore. Yes, Savannah, this business got me through so many rough times. And after my mom died, I put my head down and I put my blinders on, as they say, and I just buried my head and got to work, and I got my Ruby and stayed consistent with it. I have fallen a few times, but I constantly get back up. Like they say, if you fall, get back up. It's one step, how do you say that? One step forward, couple steps back, 8 steps forward. Just constantly get up. No matter how many times you fall, it's all part of the process. And just make sure that you fail forward and keep going. Definitely. Now I have my granddaughter throughout the day while my daughter goes to school or is working. I get to keep her and spend time with her and pay bills at the same time and stay home with my family. And I have 4 dogs now that I never thought that would happen. But I wouldn't be able to have 4 dogs or be with my granddaughter if I had to go to a job every day. So, I mean, this business has truly saved my life.
Yeah, I love that. And it's crazy, guys, because if you knew Christina back when I met her for the first time, she is like super, super yellow. And she is so, like, her personality is so beautiful. It's like literally came in, and I feel like it changed my perspective of this business, because here I am, this, red coming in. I don't know about other people's feelings. I don't know really how to help other people who are more sensitive than me. I'm very a cut to the point, dry type of person. And so having her come in actually has taught me so much about caring about people and loving other people. And now Christine is like my best friend. We talk all the time. I go to her house several times. She's coming to conference with us. So it's super cool. So one of the questions that I had for you, Christina, there was a couple of them, but I'm going to put you on the spot like I always do. So number one is, you said personal development. You said the book, The Dream Giver, was a big shift in your business, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything that's like your favorite right now, or something that you could direct someone who's maybe going through a lot like you went through when you first started this business? What would be like your number one?
Actually, the book that you got me, Nothing to Prove, that's another really, really good book to turn to. And then I know some people aren't religious, but I mean, just reading little tidbits out of your Bible, that really helps me. I never picked up a Bible before. I believed in God, but like I didn't pray to God and talk to him and just like give my business to him and just give my life to him, and now I do. And it's gotten me through. And then podcasts are a life changer. So many different podcasts. The Mindset Mentor is a really, really good one. Obviously, Ashley Mayfield and Jade Hooper and Stephen Furtick, Elevation Church. I listened to that one. They're a really good one. The name of that book, Savannah, was called Nothing to Prove. I don't remember who it's by.
Jen something, I think.
Yeah.
I read that book too, and that was a huge turning point for me as well. So I'm glad that you said that. So if you were talking to a brand new person, I know you kind of mentioned just keep going. Is there any specific tips that you would say to someone So maybe their business is fluctuating, or maybe they're going through a season of doubt, or maybe they're just getting started in their business.
Take quitting off the table. If you're just getting started, take quitting right off the table from day one. Do your self-development, change your mindset. That's especially if you're just getting started. And if you've been in this business for a while and you're kind of falling back and there's days where you don't feel like doing anything, just do it. Just sit down and push through it and send the messages and just do the tasks every day, no matter what, because it makes you feel better. It gets you out of the funk that you were feeling, that you didn't want to sit down and do the things that you had to do. And when you sit down to actually do the things that you have to do, I just always feel better. It's kind of like exercising. Like, you don't want to exercise, but you feel so good after you're done.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The same thing goes with exercising. If you don't work out or you don't eat healthy every day, it's going to go backwards, right?
Right.
So if you don't work your business is not going to take off. It's like a plane. You have to get consistent, and you're clicking the brake and going on the gas, going on the brake and going on the gas. You can't gain momentum that way.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing, my friend. I love you so much.
You're welcome. I love you.
Okay, so we're gonna mute. Tanya, can you just give me like a thumbs up if I have time to share mine, or do you want to talk?
Yeah.
Or okay,
No,
all
go
right.
for it.
I didn't know if you could unmute yourself. That's why I did that. Okay, so I'm just gonna share my story super, super, super quick. Just because I feel like the variety is so great and I love this Zoom so far. So I actually started my business almost 4 years ago. 4 years in November. And just like Christina, it took me a minute to kind of take off. I didn't actually start working my business consistently for the first 5 months because I was going through a really hard time with my other half. We were fighting over money nonstop, and I had no idea that this business was actually going to be what changed my entire life. It's almost like you don't see it until it happens, right? And you don't believe in it until it actually happens. In the meantime, my enroller actually quit after I got started 2 months in. And so I had to work this business and figure it out by myself. And I was not one of your natural born leaders. I was actually a follower. So coming in and feeling like I had nobody, I struggled with that at first. And the thing that really pulled me to get out of that funk of not knowing where I was going or what I was going to be doing was my reason why, which had a lot to do with my daughter, Bailey. I was working 70 hours a week before this business. And so I had no time with her. We were broke as a joke. We were struggling to put a roof over our head and keep a roof over our head. And the fighting over money nonstop was literally killing my mindset. I have always had anxiety since I don't even remember when it started. And I struggled with postpartum depression after my daughter, which, if you know anything about that, it's crazy. You feel like you're not worthy constantly. You feel like you're not good enough constantly. So starting a business like this and having somebody quit, obviously I looked at myself first and said, what's wrong with me? Why did she quit on me? But after a while, I started realizing that it was actually a blessing from God that she quit, because if I would have been trained by her, I would not be where I am today. Okay. So if you're struggling, don't have someone who is there to teach you. Just like Janice said, there's so many Zoom calls. There's so many YouTube videos. There's so many trainings that you can hop on. You're invited to tons of them, tons and tons. And if you can't find one, go look at your upline, go look at your sideline, go look at who's on this video right now, or look at the people who Tanya follows on her YouTube videos or YouTube channel or whatever from this YouTube channel. Go check them out, because it's going to change your life just going and following different leaders, hearing different stories, hearing different perspectives, hearing different training styles. And one of them might not click with you, but the other one might, And so, that's what I did. I watched several different people for the first 5 months, kind of had my head in the gutter for a little while, had no idea where I was going. And then I found my real reason why I was here in the first place. And that was because I was sick and tired of not having enough time with my daughter. And so I wanted to be able to be home with her full time. And I worked really, really hard for the first month that I actually started staying consistent. And then I was able to bring myself home from 2 different jobs within my first month or 2 of actually staying consistent. I was living off of fast start bonuses. So if you think that I was just promoting like crazy, it wasn't. It was a lot of just fast start, because I I was not learning the correct way. And then within a year after that, I actually learned how to teach somebody else. And the red personality in me, that was a struggle. So I wanted to just go. I was addicted to the chase. So a year afterwards, I went diamond, and less than a year after that, I pushed my other half, Matt's account to diamond, and he was able to come home full time from being a mechanic, which was pretty cool. He had never thought that we would ever have this life. And honestly, when I first started, he didn't even know that I was working a business. I didn't tell him. Okay. So he found out when he was able to come home, and I was paying all of our bills and doing all the things. And I was able to go on trips to Florida. I went to conference twice now. I've been to Alabama once, and I get to travel around and see all my friends and stuff like that. So now we're able to be home full time with our kids. We get to teach other women how to do the same exact thing. And I'm a much more softer version of me than I ever have been. But in the same sense, I'm a more stronger version of me. I'm no longer a follower. I'm no longer somebody who lets people walk all over her. I'm no longer somebody who is letting the fear hold her back from things. Personal development is something that I can thank for that. And if there's one piece of advice that I could give to someone coming in that's brand new, I would have to say, stay consistent, because what you're doing right now is going to pan out within the next 3 to 6 months. So if you're putting in the work right now, just know that your harvest is not coming for the next 3 to 6 months. And when it does, you're going to thank yourself for busting your butt right now in our seed planting season. Okay. So huge piece of advice. The Dream Giver was also a big turnaround for me, like Christina said. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Tanya, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, I took so many notes and like wrote so many things down from y'all. A couple things that I just want to touch on is I loved Christina's story, and she told us about all the different bad things, quote unquote, that happened during the business. And there are two types of people that come into this. They're the type that when something bad happens, they quit their business and they use it as an excuse to quit. Or there's the type of people that use their business to fuel them through the bad things. And that's something that I've noticed. And actually, my father-in-law passed away, it sounds like 2 weeks before your mom did. So around that same time, all heck was breaking loose. And I was the same way. Like, this business is what got me through that, because I had done the self-development. Because there's nothing magical about It Works. That's why there's two types of people when the hard stuff hits, the ones that quit and the ones that keep going. It has nothing to do with It Works. It has everything to do with the work that you put in because you're in It Works. Most of us did not do a lot of self-development before this company. But self-development is not something that you join It Works and there's like a magic little fairy dust. And, oh, look, now you're like a self-developed person. All they do is give us the tools, and then we have to go out and do the work. So clearly Christina's doing the work, because she wouldn't still be here and still be pushing and be successful with all that stuff happening had she not been doing the work. So if you take one thing from the Zoom, I would take the fact that you are the one responsible for your outcome. You have to be the one putting in the work. And Janice, you're funny. You're like, oh, I was working and doing this. I was like, girl, if she does not say that she freaking owned a restaurant, I'm going to come on there and say that, because she was not just working. Like, you were already a successful business owner. And that speaks volumes that you would switch to something like this and change your avenue of business. And also, she didn't mention this. I'm going to throw her under the bus. Your girl didn't even know how to screenshot when she started this. So if you've got potentials, or maybe you are on here and you're brand new and you're like, I couldn't do that because I don't know how to work Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Notice she didn't drop an Instagram handle in there because she's not on Instagram. Guys, she works just 100% on Facebook. So you literally can do it if you're willing to learn. Now, granted, Savannah and I can both tell you, on the flip side of that, you have to be patient enough to teach that type of person. Because it is not easy to, now Savannah has an advantage because she lives in the same town, but I have several people on our team that started exactly where Janice was, did not know how to use technology to save her life. And it's a little hard to teach them how to do that through Zoom when you first have to teach them how to open the dang Zoom. But it's worth it, because I have a lot of those people that are making money from home now. So don't discount people, and also don't discount yourself if you're watching this and you're like, well, I don't even know how to, like, what does it mean to tag somebody? will teach you all of that. But you have to stick with it long enough and be willing to put the work in. And I've seen her conference hotels at 11, 12 o'clock at night. I don't remember what it was, but she was trying to figure out something on Host to Post. And me and Savannah are like, no, you just do this. Like, you literally just push this button. And she was getting frustrated, and she kept going, and she figured it out. So if something is not coming as easy to you in this business as you feel like it is to other people, just know that we might not struggle with the technology side of it, but we might struggle with something else that you don't see behind the scenes, because we all struggle with something that we're learning to do. For me, it was like Chelsea so eloquently said, she's a softer version of herself. I'm like freaking butter compared to cement when I started this business. Speaking of a softer version. So my biggest struggle was just learning how to not steamroll people to get where I wanted to go. I'm just going to be honest. I lost my team multiple times because I just pushed people like, screw you, you ain't working, I'll go to the next person. And that wasn't the right way to do it. So, but I definitely want to shout out Janice and Alicia, because y'all are like backbones of this team. And guys, they talk about how they're up at 3 o'clock in the morning. These ladies are the ones that lead our 6 o'clock work Zoom, because I don't get on the 6 o'clock work Zoom all the time. There are times I wake up and she's already in the chat like, oh, started a Zoom like an hour before I rolled out of bed, because they just are up and, you know, they're honestly leaders on this team. So I do want to just throw in on Alicia's timeline, because she did switch to my team, but she didn't switch to my team. And I say that because I know there's a couple, I don't know if you're on here, but I know you'll be watching the Zoom, the replay. There's a couple people that just this week asked if they could just quit and sit out for 3 months and switch to my team. And I've told you no, because that's not how we work. We're one team, one mission. You don't need to switch to my team. You get all the same training. With Alicia, she had quit working. She didn't like quit her account. She had quit working. And then she came back. Her enroller had quit. So she started hopping on my Zooms because I was in the team pages and stuff. And so I started working with her while she was on the Zooms, not on my team. And it was a good, I guess, 3 months, actually, 2 to 3 months, that I was just helping her kind of rebrand herself. And then she was ready to sign a customer. And she asked me, because she was having a problem getting on her website. Long story short, her account had canceled and she didn't realize it because, again, she hadn't been working the business. So when she came back in, she thought she was a distributor, but she actually wasn't. A week later, and so I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, there's nothing I can do. It's already out of the system. Like, I reached out to April and I asked her, I was like, hey, can you look this person up? I don't see her. And so we found out she had canceled. So a week later, the $20 deal came up, and Alicia immediately messaged me, was like, hey, what's your ID number? I'm going to sign up under you. At that point, I was like, go for it. You're already not a distributor, and your enroller that you started with isn't in the business. So I want you guys to make sure you understand that, like, there's no benefit to switching to someone else's team. She didn't switch to switch. She switched because literally it was just like a freak accident that she wasn't a distributor anymore and she didn't realize it. So I just wanted to make sure and throw that out there, because I don't want anyone getting salty. Like, well, you wouldn't let me switch to your team, because you don't need to. You don't have to have an upline in this business. We are all your uplines. So, and I will say, every person that's asked me to switch doesn't have an active upline. So nobody think like, oh, my team hates me, they want to switch. Just people drop off and their downline kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. And then, yeah, Janice, when you said time management, I love that, because the people that tell me, oh, I quit because took too much time, or, oh, I don't want to do this because it takes too much time for my family. Either one, you're really bad at time management, or two, you've never had a real job. Because when you've been a mom and you've worked outside the home and had to come home and try to balance everything with a 40 to 60 hour work week job, doesn't take up too much time. You realize the freedom that you're gaining when you compare it to something like that. And that's why I talked about last week about stay-at-home moms. Like, you really have to figure out how to gain that perspective, because it is harder, I think, to come into this. And it's like you're gaining a job, I guess, where for us, you're just replacing it and you're gaining a whole lot of free time. So I think there's a little different mindset behind it. The 2 tips that I wanted to give you all tonight, though, is one, Chelsea and Mandy did awesome explaining how to develop your why last week. And I had an aha moment after the Zoom, like I think Tuesday or Wednesday, because one of my biggest whys is about 2 hours from our house, there is like this little cabin type setup where you can buy, basically it's a trailer, but like they're set up real nice. They don't look like trailers. Like When I think of a trailer, I think of what I grew up in, like a trailer park trailer, but apparently there are actually nice trailers, and I'm learning that. But they're right on the lake, and they're like $30,000 to $50,000 nice. They call them cabins, but they're technically like manufactured homes, I guess. I have a friend that has a home out there, and we go out and spend a couple weeks in the summer, and I love it. Like, they have a pool, they're right on the lake. They just have they have activities every weekend for the kids. So my big why now is I wanted to buy one of those trailers, and it's a decent amount of money. Yes, Chelsea, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes, like when I told my husband it was a trailer, because he went and stayed a week with me one time. He's like, I don't want to go stay in a trailer. I was like, honey, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're nice. One, they're $30,000 to $50,000. The trailer I grew up in, we paid $4,000 for. So that tells you the difference. Okay, it's not like a trailer that I'm thinking of. The problem is, okay, so I got text this week that they were selling one of the ones that I looked at for a much cheaper price. And immediately I was like, the money doesn't even matter. Like, it would be an hour and a half away from Brett's work, which means we would live out there and then have to drive home and only see him on the weekends. And then we'd have to drive back midweek to get Glory to Bible Club, or we wouldn't go to Bible Club. I don't even know, like all these things through my head. So at that point, I realized my why that I'm working toward can't even be solved with the business. It doesn't matter if I have the money to buy the trailer, because I don't have the means to actually live in that trailer and do all the commitments that I need to do. So you need to make sure your why is something that only the business can give you, or you're going to have 100 excuses of why you shouldn't work toward it because you can't achieve it anyways. And I realized that I was like, I've been half-heartedly working toward this because I knew having the money to buy the trailer wouldn't allow me to buy the trailer. Like, that was not my big obstacle. But so what I did, I started looking around. I was like, no, I need to solidify this. I know I want to, at least in the summer, live on the water. I was like, I looked at RVs. I was like, but then you have to have a place to store them. I don't really want to do that. We don't have a place to store it. About 10 minutes from my house, there is a permanent campsite thing. Like, you can camp, but you can also rent cabins. Like, they're already there, and they have electricity and Wi-Fi and like all the amenities. You can rent them weekly. So I figured it up for $3,500. I could live there for the entire summer. It's 10 minutes from my house. Brett literally could go there for dinner, and then we could drive home, sleep, because he won't sleep on the camp bed. I know that. But it wouldn't be out of the way to just drive home and sleep in our own bed. And I wouldn't want to sleep there at night by myself anyway. So I wouldn't care. Like, I want to be there to swim and enjoy like the fun stuff, because they have a mini golf course. They have the pool. They have like 3 pools on site. They have all the fun things. So that I could do. And so my new why, like, next summer, I'm going to be living at the freaking lake, and I'm not going to have to take care of it during the winter. Now, granted, that's basically taking on an extra mortgage. So for me to do that during just that summer, I need to make an extra $35,000 or so, because the way we budget our money is about 10% of it I get to use for fun, and the rest of it goes into a savings account or bills or toward whatever we want it to go toward. So that's a lot of money to make in a 3-month period, but I'm going to work my butt off, because I know if I can secure the money, I get to live there for the summer. There's no other obstacles. So make sure that your why is detailed. You know how to get there. So spend an hour, do a little bit of research. I was on their website. I was figuring out prices. I was looking at the things and making sure like I could live there. No ifs, ands, or buts from Brett, because during the summer, that's when he works long hours. He leaves here a little before 5 in the morning and doesn't get home until 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. He doesn't care where I'm at during the day. He does care that he has food on the table when he gets home. The house stays cleaned. His underwear stays clean, and work pants, laundry. But we always joke about who washes your underwear, and that we spend time together each night. He doesn't care if he comes out to the cabin and has grilled food instead of, food in the oven. And then we would come home and sleep, and I would just leave and go back out there the next day with Glory before, after he goes to work. And weekends we could spend there if we wanted to. We wouldn't have to. Like, at that point, it would just be a totally tangible way to get out and live on the lake without having to like buy a permanent place. So I would challenge you to get a detailed why that you can achieve only through this business, and there's no other obstacles. If your why is to bring your husband home and he don't want to come home, You're not going to work that hard for it because you know that just if you make enough money, it doesn't matter. He's not going to come home anyways. And then the second tip I want to give you is do what you enjoy in the business. Alicia mentioned that I don't teach that you don't cold message, but that she learned she didn't have to cold message when she came onto my team. It's not because I teach anti-cold messaging. I cold message. Now we message in a way that's more like, are you open to me giving you info? Not, hey, do you want to join? Or hey, do you want to lose weight? So we go about it a little differently, but we're still messaging. But what I taught her is she doesn't have to do my way or the highway. There's several avenues to bring in leads. And I gave her permission. She didn't need my permission, but her last upline, who again is not in the business, it was kind of my way or the highway. Either you work like I do and like I'm teaching you, or I'm not going to train you. And so I gave her permission to be herself. And as long as you're getting results, I don't care how you're doing it. If you're happy and you're making the money that you want to make and you're signing people and you're, or if you're not signing people, but you're happy because you want the community, work it however you want to work it. Something that I used to do all the time was live videos. And y'all that were with me back in the day used to watch my live videos, and I would get anywhere from 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10,000 views on them because I got really good at delivering content. And I got a lot of leads on those videos. I get people because I always drip the business. Y'all, I did 3 live videos last week. If you don't know how to drip the business in a live video, go watch them. They have nothing to do with the business, but people talk to me about the business afterwards. Today, I got a lead for hair, skin, and nails because I casually mentioned one of my habits is taking my vitamins. Oh, I take a vitamin to grow out my hair, but I don't like taking vitamins. So as soon as I get up, I take it. That's a habit. Oh, hey, what do you take to grow your hair out? The video was on time management, but I get real smart about dripping. It's just called dripping. You literally, Chelsea's like, oh, I do that. Yeah, most people don't even know what it's called, but in the sales world, it's called dripping. But I stopped doing them when the KPI checklist became a thing. Because I was like, oh, I'm not doing I have to do all of that. My team won't do it if I don't do it. So I stopped doing videos, and it shows, guys, because this is the first week I got back to doing them, and I have 20 views. Because you're going to start at the bottom. The algorithm doesn't know you anymore. They don't care. It's going to take months to build my audience back up. And that's okay. I'm not blaming the business on the fact that I quit doing them. I got distracted. So if you're doing something you enjoy and you are getting results from it, don't get distracted because somebody else is doing something else. That's the worst thing that you can do. And I was always like, oh, I'm not going to get distracted. I'm going to stay focused. And I don't even know how I got distracted, but 6-8 months ago is when I looked back and I stopped doing them. And that's when we started doing the KPI checklist. And I remember thinking I'm still going to do videos, but that's not the way we work the business. It's not an income producing task, which for me, it technically was. I don't know why I thought that. So I'm going to do them if I have time. Guys, we don't ever have time. We don't ever just have extra time to do these things. So I'm making them a point now. They're a priority. They're in my schedule. I'm going live 3 times a week, either Facebook or Instagram, 3 across both platforms. And there are a ton of different ways to get leads. So again, if you like something that's a lead generating activity, do more of it. Because if you're not having fun, you're going to lose your passion. And then you're not going to want to do the business. It's going to become just oh, I'm doing this because I got a checklist. I gotta do my things. But I want to get done with it real quick and go on to my real life. And I got in that mode for a little bit. And if you look at my numbers for the last 4 or 5 months, you can tell I got in that mode. And so now I'm excited. So I'm back and actually have passion for what I'm doing. So live videos, posting, maybe you're real good at crafting those emotional posts. I know some of y'all you're real good at crafting those and you get leads from them. So do them. TikToks, story slides. Some of you guys are really good at making the story slides into little vlogs. Vlogging, that's another way that I get leads from. And it's something that I only done for a couple of months. And I literally was oh, I shouldn't be spending time on this. I was no, I'm getting leads from it and I enjoy it. I'm spending time on it. So just give yourself permission to have fun. Post to post. I like post to post. I don't love messaging. I don't do a whole lot of it. When I do, I get leads, but I get just as many leads from videos. So just because someone else is doing it, don't get distracted and think you have to do it. There's not a one way, my way, or the highway. There's a you and your brand. And how does that fit into this business? Not how does how does your life fit into the business? Not how does the business control your life? So those are my tips. It went a little bit longer than I had thought. I changed scenery. I turned my camera off for a few minutes. I know somebody texted me. I was like, where'd you go? I was like, no, I had to move inside because it's getting dark and I'm blind. So literally I was going to have to turn my light on and be like, reading the notes like this, trying to remember what I was going to say to you guys. So I was like, while Chelsea's talking, I'll sneak inside and no one will know. So Chelsea, do you have anything else that you want to add on to this? I think you have to be the one to stop recording and stuff.
Yeah, I can. I just love this Zoom, and I just want to take just one last second just to thank every single person who talked on it. I know how scary it is sometimes to go live. I personally don't even like going live. I don't like getting on and being host of Zooms. I'm nervous as like crazy nervous, guys. But I do it anyways because I know that I have to lead myself, and I know that I have to jump outside of my comfort zone. So thank you guys so much for hopping on here and being so brave. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. If I can figure it out.